There's a movie from the 1970s. This is part hippie anti-war message, part comedy, called Suppose They Gave a War and Nobody Came. Well, in Canada, suppose they gave a postal strike and nobody noticed. Now, I know that if you are a small business person and you rely on the postal service to bring you in orders, to bring you your materials, and to ship out your goods to your customers, this is a bad time. You're going through some rough periods this Christmas season. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business estimates that small businesses are losing about $75 million a day. So this is the third week. We're close to $1 billion in losses for small business. That's not something to sneeze at. It's not something I can just shrug off. It's the same with charities. Charities estimate they've lost about $250 million because of this postal strike, because they can't send out their appeals by mail and they're not getting in the same number of checks. But it's not as big a loss for small business and charities as it otherwise might have been, because so much stuff now is done online, including payments. So yes, it's bad if you're a small business or you're a charity, but the rest of us barely noticed. We haven't had delivery to our house from the Canada Post letter carrier in almost 3 weeks. The only people who've really noticed are my dogs. They don't jump up and run to the window and bark at the letter carrier every morning like they usually do. They're not getting as much exercise as they once did. But other than that, we don't get the volume of mail. None of us in Canada get the volume of mail from Canada Post that we once did. Canada Post used to be responsible, as recently as 5 years ago, for about 2/3 of all the parcel deliveries in Canada. Now they are just above 1/4 of the parcel deliveries, and that number is shrinking rapidly because there are so many other competitors. The volume of parcels that come from Amazon alone now exceed those from Canada Post. And in 2006, the average Canadian family received about 7 letters a week through Canada Post. Now it's down to 2, and it's expected within 3 to 4 years to be down to 1 letter a week. Because if you have a request for money, donations, if you have a bill that has to be paid, anything that normally used to come in a first-class letter now comes in your email, or you get a notification through your bank that you owe money. And you pay that money. You give your donation, you pay your bills online. Things have changed. You know, this to me is like if we had a whole bunch of government buggy drivers and now all of a sudden everybody has a car. Well, should we save the buggy industry? No. And we shouldn't have to save Canada Post. Canada Post last year lost $748 million. The year before, it lost $548 million, and since 2018, it's lost $3 billion. Part of that, the biggest part of that, is that communications and deliveries are changing, and Canada Post is not changing along with them. Canada Post can't change in many ways, so we should just think about how to wind it down. Take away its first-class monopoly, its monopoly on first-class letters. Let's do that to start with and see what other services pop up to take its place. Canada Post is archaic. It's old-fashioned. We no longer have operators in every elevator. We don't need letter carriers in every neighborhood. Our letter carrier is a wonderful person. I've gotten to know him. Great guy. Knocks on the door every once in a while. Hey, here's a parcel for you. And we have a little chat. I would hate to see him lose his job, but that's the way the world evolves. The business world evolves, and Canada Post cannot evolve with it. If there's anything that this strike has proven, it's that we do not need Canada Post anymore. For Postmedia, I'm Lorne Gunter.